What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. It's your boy, World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about WWE Smackdown November 22nd, 2024 review. Are we actually live? Is what I want to know. Because it looks like I'm kind of frozen here. Thing trying to make up its fucking mind whether I'm live or not. I don't know. Gotta get new technology. Technology, it's so good, isn't it? It's great. It's wonderful. Um, Sorry, I'm sucking on a Jolly Rancher here. I thought tonight's SmackDown was, yeah, it was boring. Um, the Bloodline segment, the Kevin Owens and uh Cody Rhodes segment was good. I liked that. That was good as well. I don't know, guys. Am I coming in okay? Because like I'm having problems here. Um, but yeah, I thought SmackDown had its good points in some cases, but majority of it just was like, whatever. Um, Good storylines were being told. I think a little bit of story was being progressed, especially with Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa actually was kind of interesting seeing him continue to go on this psychopathic type of mentality like the Tommaso Ciampa we knew in Ring of Honor back in the day. If you followed him in Ring of Honor, he was pretty much played a psycho there too. It's coming across that way here in WWE right now with the storyline, in my personal opinion. Matt 87 Eagle says, "Look in my eyes, and what do you see? The fifth man of personality." Yes, CM Punk did show up tonight. Paul Heyman showed up tonight. I was a bit surprised by that. I thought they were going to say this for a Survivor Series introduction and surprise everybody. But they did it tonight. I think it gave the same effect, but it kind of, there could have been, questions, mysteries of who it could be, making people guess who it might be. I mean, there was still a possibility that could have been somebody else besides CM Punk. Bronson, not Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman being one of them could have been a perfect pick since he had issues with Bronson Reed. So, I mean, there was different options, but CM Punk was the best option as star power goes. And earlier this year, he did have a little scuffle with the new bloodline and so forth. Paul Heyman was looking for a favor from CM Punk. So this being the case and what happened tonight, I think it all makes perfect sense in a way. I mean, there could have been a little bit of an explanation told here on this episode, but they could always explain it in the SmackDown episode next week or on Raw, whichever they choose. So there's still open a possibility of at least explaining why Paul Heyman went with CM Punk. He could always explain that to Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns was like, "What are you doing here?" At the point of this whole situation, once everything unfolded with everyone getting emptied out of the ring. So it made a lot. It did leave questions that need to be answered on another episode. So it was a nice little cliffhanger, I think. So it can be explained. Matt 87 Eagle says, "Nah, now the story can focus on the match instead of everyone questioning who's the fifth man going to be all night." It depends on your opinion, Matt. I honestly view it as either way would have been is fine. I'm not complaining about it. You know, I'm not truly complaining about CM Punk being the guy announced tonight. But it was kind of surprising, at least. The crowd popped heavy for it. It was really good. I got to give him credit, especially with the Paul Heyman uh, appearance. That was a bit surprising that they did it that soon. I thought it was going to be for Survivor Series, honestly. Love Girl says, see, I told you that it was going to be CM Punk because if you look at the past, CM Punk teamed with Paul Heyman, so I was right. Yeah, so, I mean, it still didn't make a lot of sense except for what JD explained as to why it would make sense to have CM Punk, which I totally forgot about. In June of this year, there was a little bit of an actual situation that occurred with the new bloodline with CM Punk. And Paul Heyman was asking for him to take him with him and whatnot. So that was the situation there. And with the explanation JD gave off, since people's memories aren't as great as they once were, and there's so much fucking content of pro wrestling, who the hell can remember all this shit? It is it's something that makes sense in that case. So yeah, I'm totally fine with it now that I got an understanding as to why this would matter or why it should happen, is what JD from New York 206 said, and it makes sense. Maddie Seven Eagles says, and we now the seeds for Punk and Rollins at Mania. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think there's got to be more to it than just Punk choosing to go. Like, I got one question. Why would Seth Rollins care that Punk chose to be with them? Seth chose not to be with the bloodline, with the original bloodline. He chose to just stay out of it. So they needed someone to replace him since he chose not to go. And CM Punk chose to join with the old bloodline to compete against the new one. So I don't quite understand what the big deal is about that, or why Seth Rollins would care at this point. He chose not to join in the first place. So just my thoughts. Now I can see Seth Rollins getting upset with him getting a world title match after doing this match and just going, what the fuck? I was the former world champion and I have been winning and having great performances, and Punk's had only 2 matches since his return. He's already getting a world title shot over me. So I could see that it would be something that would instigate something, but they already have beef before even any of these other possible storylines are even taking place. We all knew this was going to happen. So him joining the bloodline to face the new bloodline, I don't even think it was necessary for that to take place, for this match to even occur between those two for Mania. So just my thoughts on it. Matt 87 Eagle says, because he's inserting himself in the biggest story, manipulating everything in his favor. And Rollins sees Punk as a selfish SOB. Matt, he already feels that that Punk is already a selfish SOB. So he didn't have to get involved in this match to have that occur. So what you're saying doesn't make any sense. I could understand if Seth Rollins said, "Okay, I'm cool with doing the match and joining you guys." He gets injured by Bronson Reed, and then they just choose CM Punk as his replacement, and then him going ahead and saying, okay, you're being a fucking asshole. That was my spot. You couldn't have stayed out of that, and you chose to take my spot. Out of all the people they could have chose, they chose you. Him having a problem there, I could understand, but he didn't want nothing to do with it. So for him to not give a shit about being involved in this match, not being taken out of the match, and then having a replacement with Punk being that guy, that I could understand occurring, but him being mad about that, not really. I think him getting a world title opportunity before Seth Rollins, which I think should happen to make this story actually occur, is probably the best way to do it at main event. Saturday night main event in December. So that's the direction I would go with that. I mean, you could use it as a building block in a sense of Punk being the guy that took a place where Rollins could have said yes to going into, but for him to get mad about it when he never was even going to join in the first place, to me makes no sense. And not to mention, the favor was asked from Paul Heyman. It wasn't CM Punk actually wanting to be involved. Punk's just doing a favor for Paul Heyman. So why would Seth even care? That doesn't make any sense to me, personally. But to each his own, I guess. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this review because I haven't even covered one fucking thing yet. So let's go ahead and do that. Damn. Mavericks are beating the Nuggets 70-53, and the Clippers are beating the Kings 29-12, and I had them both in a cover as underdogs to at least lose by 10 points or less, and they're winning both of the games by double digits. Holy shit. That's insane. Sorry guys, I'm really into betting on basketball. And I'm doing pretty fucking good actually. Holy shit. That's crazy. Anyway, let me go ahead and get into this review. All right, so Bloodline shows up. We get the new Bloodline, I should say. Solo tells the crowd to acknowledge him, but they boo. He says his crew is ready to dominate at War Games. And once more, the fans chant for OTC. He says they are always ready, but Roman Reigns is not ready. Solo says that Roman isn't even there yet. He tells Roman that when he gets there or gets here, he needs to meet him in the middle of the ring tonight to accept his terms of surrendering. Solo tells Roman that once he surrenders, Roman and his crew can finally acknowledge him. He drops the microphone and his music hits. We cut to Michael Cole and Corey Graves, who are at ringside, and they go through the card for the show. First match on the card was a triple threat match for the women's U.S. championship match, crown a new women's champion. Believe it or not, Chelsea Green was the one that won this match. So that really shocked me, actually. I had Bianca Belair winning this match and moving on, but there was an actual incident that occurred backstage where Jade Cargill got power bombed or something happened to her. She got thrown through the windshield and landed on a hood of a car and was attacked backstage in the parking lot. Very nice. They took her to the hospital and everything, and pretty much, whatchamacallit, Bianca Belair was more concerned about that than worrying about winning a match, which, plays into, her actually caring more about her partner than her own self, which to me shows that she's being a baby face more than anything else. Who actually turns heel? I don't know. It should be interesting how that plays out later on in the future, which I think might happen just around the Royal Rumble or just after the Royal Rumble in the pay-per-view just before the WrestleMania pay-per-view, and we build a story towards that. That's where I think that's going to all occur and unfold. Matt 87 Eagle says, from Rollins' point of view, Punk isn't doing this for Heyman. He's doing it for himself to build towards the main event spot. He doesn't need to do this match to build towards the main event spot. He's already granted that by beating Drew McIntyre inside the Hell in a Cell. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Matt 87 Eagle. Really, I don't. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. So it is what it is. He's building himself to a main event spot. I honestly don't see it that way. I think that's absolutely fucking asinine to say, oh, he's going to get a world title match because he competed in War Games as a special fifth man for the old bloodline. Who gives a shit? He already has. He's beaten Drew McIntyre in a long drawn out storyline that was built from the beginning of the year with the injury all the way up to now. And hasn't done nothing since because he was dealing with all kinds of injuries. And before that, he was looking towards the world championship opportunity with Gunther anyway. So I don't know what you're talking about, Matt 87 Eagle. It makes absolutely no sense what you're saying. And if you want to view it that way, then that's your opinion. I'm going by facts. Facts is he was already going after the world title with Gunther. Had there been no continuation with Drew McIntyre, there wouldn't have been there would have been a match with Gunther for the world title. It was that simple. And Gunther would have won at Survivor Series. Matty 7 Eagle says Belair wasn't going to win this match because, one, she's already a champion, though those belts mean shit. So Green was the best pick. I disagree. I think Bianca Belair could have moved on in the tournament. Not saying that she was going to win the fucking title, Matt. I'm just saying that she could have moved on to the finals, and then something could have happened where she ended up costing her the opportunity of winning the U.S. championship for the women. So I feel that would have been fine. I didn't see her winning the whole thing. I thought she was going to get past the first round at least, but that was not the case. And Jade Cargill was already in the other triple threat match. So I figured in that case, we were going to see Bianca Belair win, move on to the main, to the finals, and then have someone from that group in that, one of those three actually win. Jade Cargill would have lost in some manner. And then we could have seen Bianca Belair lose to whoever won out of those three. And that's how I was kind of viewing that it would go. So Matt 87 Eagle says, though the story is she chose her partner over the new belt. Yeah, that's obvious. It makes sense. I would hate to think that you've been tag team partners with someone who you actually have tag team titles with. Like you said, that title's shit, but still, it's a title. They're tag team partners. You give a shit about your partner. You don't go ahead, give a fuck about just yourself. If you're going to be in a tag team, I mean, come on. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does make her look like a fucking asshole, but she's not playing the asshole yet. Give it some time. I'm sure eventually all this will wear on her and she will become a heel, which I at least hope so. But yeah, Chelsea Green got the win. Her winning this title would be kind of interesting. Chelsea Green has not done a whole lot of anything. I've underestimated her. And for her to win this title, this mid-card title, that would be kind of interesting. So I'm going to keep an eye on her. I think I might pick her to win the whole thing after winning this match. I think she's very reliable of winning this match, this whole tournament. Back from commercial, Bianca runs to the outside, and she is with Nick Aldis and Bailey. Bianca gets in the ambulance with Jade Cargill, and the ambulance drives off. We then have LA Knight and Santos Escobar defending the U.S. Championship. LA Knight, of course, wins this match, but throughout the entire match, we had some sort of situation occurring with with fuck. My brain went to a fart. Um with Shinsei Nakamura, who I haven't seen in God knows how long. I haven't watched Smackdown in fucking a while anyway. I haven't reviewed it in a long time either. But yeah, Shinsei Nakamura appeared at this show. He had a couple of interferences, one where he was doing a vignette talking about how LA Knight is insecure of himself. That's why he needs the fans to cheer for him so damn much. Very similar to what Nakamura was doing with Cody Rhodes leading up to the Royal Rumble this year. And they had a series of matches leading in just before the Royal Rumble itself. I kind of feel like this is a little similar to that, only this could lead him to winning the United States Championship. I personally would be okay with it. I think it's time for LA Knight to move on from the mid-card division. The mid-card has not done him any good. He was gaining a ton of momentum, and I think that this U.S. Championship run has really stunted his growth as a main eventer. I think he was doing excellent stuff. And right now, I mean, he's not, not in any situation of danger of losing his main event stardom or being in important storylines. It's just, I think right now that U.S. title is kind of beneath him and it's not really doing anything for him at this point. I think a guy like Santos Escobar would have been perfect for that, but him losing to Santos Escobar, I don't know about that one. But Shinsei Nakamura, if you put him on the TV show, have him win some matches against some notable names on the babyface side of things, I think we could really look at Shinsei Nakamura as a serious player to winning the United States title and moving him into that championship and having LA Knight kind of move on from the mid card section of this roster and really build him back up to that main event status that he was at. Because right now, with these stories that he's been doing, has really kind of killed his push, in my personal opinion. I don't think he's lost interest with the fans. I just think that the stories that he's been involved with are just very stale and get him nowhere, really. Once he won the U.S. title, it's really been nothing for him. I think he was more of a main eventer and more important before he won the U.S. championship in 2023. That was his year, man. He was really doing good shit. He was important. He was in important storylines. This year, he ain't doing anything important. Yeah, he won a U.S. championship from Logan Paul, but other than that, it's not like he's done anything really that big compared to last year. Last year was fucking great for him. I mean, he competed for a world title. Yes, he lost, but he had a good match with Roman Reigns, and he was in a fatal four-way match at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view on top of it. So, with all that being said, he was actually in the world title scene despite Roman having that run with the championship leading into him losing it to Cody Rhodes. So, I mean, there's always that opportunity for LA Knight to eventually move into the world title scene, maybe move him over to Raw and give him a world championship run with the belt eventually at some point later on next year once he's on Raw. But right now, with him doing what he's doing on SmackDown with just the U.S. title, it's not getting him anywhere. The title seems very, it's boring. Doesn't seem all that intriguing to me. Just my thoughts. Anyway, let's move on. After the match was over, Nakamura actually runs down to the ring and throws LA Knight into the ring post several times. A running kick from behind by Nakamura onto LA Knight, and the referee checks on LA Knight. We see clips of last week's tag team championship match with Ciampa attacking the Street Profits and pushing Johnny Gargano. So he's really kind of like losing it. It cuts to Johnny Gargano talking to the Motor City Machine Guns. Gargano Gargano tries to get himself and Ciampa a tag team match, but the Motor City Machine Guns say the Street Profits deserve a rematch because of the interference by Ciampa last week. In come the Street Profits, and they say they have next and tell Gargano that his tag team partner is bad news. And we see Roman Reigns, Jimmy, Jay, and Sami Zayn arriving to the arena next. Back from commercial break, Nick Aldis asks Nia Jax if she knows anything about what happened to Jay Cargill. Nia says she doesn't know. She wanted to take Jade out during War Games, and she was helping Tiffany and Candice get ready for their match. Nia walks away, and we see Cody Rhodes walking Aldis, and Aldis runs to try and stop him, but Cody walks to the ring anyway. Next, we have Cody and Kevin Owens. Cody walks down and stands in the ring. He says Randy Orton is not here, and they are telling him that Kevin Owens is not there, not here tonight either. But he doesn't believe that. He asks Owens to come down to the ring right now. He tells him not to keep him waiting. We hear Kevin Owens' voice, and we see him walking in between the crowd, and he stands on the stairs, and he says he was summoned to be there tonight because the great Cody Rhodes wanted him there, and you can't deny Cody's requests. He says Cody isn't even wearing a suit. He deserves better than that. Cody tells him he was summoned and to stand in the ring with him, and Owens says Cody doesn't get what he wants just because he wants it. Cody leaves the ring, but security stops him. Owens says he sees Cody riled up and he wants to fight him, but before they do that, he wants Cody to tell him why he's upset. Owens walks down and stands on the announce table. He blames Cody for what he did, and Owens says he did it because for 4 years he fought the Bloodline every week. He fought them and they tried to end his career. Roman Reigns tried to end his career and he never could and never will. And in came Cody. They fought together. He was in the ring at WrestleMania 40. He also worked with him and Sami Zayn during WrestleMania 39 to ensure he had the opportunity to win the world title from Roman Reigns. And after he won the damn title at WrestleMania 40, he was happy as he could because Cody finished the story. And after that, Roman comes back out of the nowhere and Cody teams up with Roman. Owens says he blames Cody for all of that. My feelings on the whole thing is I feel that Kevin Owens has every right to feel the way he did. Straight up. Now, him attacking Cody Rhodes in a parking lot, I mean, granted, that's a little over the top and ridiculous. You didn't have to go that far. But my personal opinion, Kevin Owens should have said, you know what? You really fucking sicken me and you disappoint me. And you come across as a fucking hypocrite. We sat here for years kicking their ass and us getting our asses kicked by them. And I stood up for you. Sami Zayn stood up for you. And Randy Orton stood up for you. And what did you do in that aspect? You basically disrespected us by joining forces with fucking Roman Reigns. That's like a complete and utter slap in our face. Then Randy Orton stands up for you, which pissed me off as well, because why should he be standing up for you when he should be mad at you just like I am for taking Roman Reigns' side when you should have just left him high and dry to begin with and told him to stick his offer up his ass? I mean, that's another thing he explained in this promo. I take Kevin Owens' side. The only thing I don't think that was the right thing to do is he didn't have to attack him in a parking lot and beat the shit out of him. He just should have just said, look, I'm not interested in doing anything with you anymore. We're fucking done. I don't want nothing to do with you. You're a piece of shit liar. And left it at that. I mean, granted, though, we wouldn't have gotten this build, but I mean, we could have led to that towards like, Cody constantly coming up to him week after week, asking him to, forgive him. And, he didn't do it out of disrespect. It was just Roman was there to have his back and he was just doing the right thing for him. And it just led to him getting more and more mad, just hearing the apology every single week. And Kevin Owens just finally snapped and beat the shit out of him. That I would have said, okay, that's fair. I mean, the guy doesn't want nothing to do with you. You're going to get the fucking message. He don't care. He don't give a shit about dealing with you. That's how I would have booked it. But to put it in Kevin Owens' favor, here the attack was unnecessary, which is why he comes across as the douchebag in the situation, even though he is in the right for how he feels. I don't understand. I didn't particularly like the whole push that they did with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. I think that was just absolutely fucking stupid, honestly. And I knew that was coming with Kevin Owens, and it makes perfect sense as to why Kevin Owens did what he did. And then Randy Orton kind of just standing up for Cody when they had a scuffle made even more sense to me as to why Kevin Owens did what he did. He felt disrespected by Randy Orton to want to take Cody Rhodes' side. It's like the same thing Cody taking Roman Reigns' side and saying, hey, I'll stand side by side with you and fight the new bloodline. I mean, that's what Seth Rollins' attitude is. And he didn't even have any major issues with the bloodline outside of the near end of this whole entire storyline that took on for the last 4 years. And even Seth Rollins doesn't want anything to do with this. So if you really want to get technical, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens could become allies later on in the future if you want to do something like that. Because honestly, they don't care for Roman Reigns at all. They fucking hate his guts. Baby face or heel, it doesn't matter. They don't want nothing to do with him, which I absolutely like. I really do. I like the fact that you got a baby face that's not liked by two other baby faces. I mean, Kevin Owens is no longer the baby face anymore because he was moved over to as a heel, but still, I mean, that's pretty fucking cool. So I actually like that. I think that's creative and it's not common. So I thought it was neat. Cody brought up about the Bash at Berlin. He had the title opportunity. He blew it. He had the ability to take advantage of the knee problem, and he didn't. And he just didn't pull the trigger and take advantage of it to win and become the man. He feels that it's not really Kevin Owens hating Cody. It's Kevin hating Kevin and using Cody as the excuse. Bro, your whole explanation to why Kevin Owens is the way he is made absolutely no fucking sense. He feels insecure about himself. He's worried about being the face of WWE and being a world champion again. Buddy, he sat in the middle. You just explained something. He sat in the middle of a world championship match. You guys are going in there as best friends, and he could have taken advantage of a weak situation on you, and he chose not to. Sorry, I thought it was a light on in a closet or something in here, so I was just checking. But he chose not to do that and be fair with you being at a disadvantage because he was being your friend. This whole story, to me personally, I take Kevin Owens. Fuck Cody. It is making me dislike Cody Rhodes, honestly. the more he explained himself in this fucking promo, the only thing Cody Rhodes has anything to stand on as being a babyface that I could say is okay is the fact that he was attacked from behind in the parking lot near his tour bus. That is about the only thing I can say is makes Cody a babyface in this situation. I mean, granted, okay, yeah, he felt he was doing the right thing with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has finally realized his wrongdoing or what have you. He's realized he's come down to earth. He's humble. He's not the arrogant prick control freak that he once was. Tonight we saw that in this episode. He was looking at everyone in the group, asking their opinion, giving them a yes or no answer as to whether he thinks it's a good idea or not. But he wasn't like treating everyone like beneath him. He treated everyone like an equal, which is how he should have been in the first place. But he was playing in a heel-like character at that time. So that's the reason for that. But in this situation, he's a different tribal chief. He's a chief that is he's the leader, but he's also treating everyone as an equal instead of treating them like shit. And that is the way he was going to have the original bloodline. Had he been that way, that's the way the bloodline would have stayed. It would have never broke up in the first place. But it is what it is. So this situation with Cody Rhodes, I just thought it was asinine. He gave him the okay, said, hey, look, we'll have a match whenever you see fit, whether it's tonight, whether it's in your hometown of Canada at Survivor Series or Saturday Night Main Event. So he mentioned all three different options: tonight, Survivor Series, or Saturday Night Main Event episode. And he hasn't made his decision yet, Kevin Owens, but he told the fans because they made booed him. He said, well, then you guys fucked yourselves. You're not getting a match between me and Cody Rhodes tonight anyway. So good luck. So yeah, the whole thing was just, it made Cody look stupid, honestly. I didn't particularly like I don't like how Cody Rhodes is looking in this situation. And it just makes Cody ridiculous. But yeah, anyway. Kevin Owens also mentions that he loved Randy Orton, but he always hated Cody Rhodes. And Cody tells him he doesn't think that he hates Cody. He thinks that Kevin hates himself. Wow, what a fucking manipulating prick Cody is. I really think that this character that the dialogue we got here could be used as a way of pushing him into a heel-like run at some point down the line. Honestly, with everything that's going on, you really could possibly see him become a heel. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think, either in the chat if you're still here or in the comments down below. Anyway, Cody says when Owens decides to have the match, there is not a single line he won't cross. He throws the microphone and Cody music hits with Owens walking back through the crowd and Owens standing in the ring. Roman Reigns, Usos, and Sami Zayn are backstage. The Usos and Sami Zayn, Jay says they still need to find a fifth member for War Games, and Zayn says he's out of ideas. Jay mentions Cody Rhodes, and Roman says, no, that's old news. Let's move on from that. Zayn asks him why not, and Roman tells him that it's old news, and he moved on. Zayn says he doesn't know if Seth Rollins is available, and Roman looks at Zayn with an angry face, and Zayn says, there's no one else. Roman says they don't need anyone else. This is all that matters. This is all they need. I liked it. I really liked it. that Roman was looking at everyone that was near him as family, as a team. The original bloodline, the bloodline that we all enjoyed seeing develop and unfold and being genuine on the screen, for us to laugh and enjoy watching them become genuine friends and on television. That's really what happened. We had segments where it was real. It wasn't just, scripted dialogue that they had to say. There was moments where we actually saw them building a friendship. This was really cool shit back in 2022. We were seeing a lot of cool stuff occurring between Sami Zayn, the bloodline, the emotional builds that were taking place between Jey Uso not trusting Sami Zayn earning the trust of the bloodline, Jimmy liking Sami Zayn, and then after Sami Zayn turned on Roman because he thought that this whole thing with Kevin Owens was going overboard at the Royal Rumble in 2023 was ridiculous. Jimmy Uso lost interest in him and didn't trust him anymore. It was just an emotional ride that people were going on from all of this content that we were given from the story that they were building. And it was such great content. It made the bloodline that much better. And that is the original bloodline, in my opinion. Solo Sikoa is just a fucking hitman. A guy that was basically Jacob Fatu in a sense in the new bloodline. That's all Solo Sikoa really was. They didn't necessarily need Solo into this the bloodline they originally had in the first place. So, my personal opinion, it doesn't matter to me. But as we know later on in the show, we get CM Punk introduced by Paul Heyman, and he's the fifth man. So Cody is walking backstage, and we see Carmelo Hayes saying it's about time someone told him about himself. Cody gets angry at Carmelo and asks him what is he saying. Hayes says he's just saying the truth, and Hayes says they're saying the truth about Orton's next, and Cody pushes him. In comes Nick Aldis, who breaks it up, and Cody tells him he should reevaluate his first round draft pick. So they are booked for a match next week on Smackdown. We've already seen these two wrestle once before a while back earlier this year. And of course, Cody won that match. He says Orton's next. I guess Orton is going to be the next guy in line to turn heel, which I'm not surprised. I believe that's what's going to happen. I think after the Royal Rumble, we're going to see Randy Orton be the guy to be Cody's opponent for the world title at WrestleMania. I think that is the right approach to go with this. I mean, you could put Randy Orton in a match with Cody before WrestleMania in a pay-per-view that goes in between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, and do that, and then have John Cena versus Cody for the WWE Undisputed title while John Cena earns his first ever win on his own without being in a tag team match, and win the Elimination Chamber to earn the right to challenge for the world title of his choosing. Or you could have him win at the Elimination Chamber anyway and have him face Gunther one-on-one for the world title, and have Randy Orton face Cody for the WWE Championship, which I actually think would be a good idea because you get two old school challengers facing the new guys in WWE that have been carrying the two biggest important titles in the company. I think that works. I would roll with that. Gunther versus John Cena and Randy Orton and Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. It makes sense. Another direction they could go is they could have just John Cena have a one-on-one match with someone of their choosing, maybe a new upcomer. He beats him in a one-on-one match. I I actually would roll with LA Knight versus John Cena. Think about it, though. They did have a little bit of a issue in 2023 last year around the same time in the October. I think it was October and leading into the early part of November, just before the Crown Jewel event. It was Payback, and then there was another event that they worked together in as tag team partners, and John Cena did not like the way LA Knight was acting in a sense. I mean, we could see those two really go at it. There was a little bit of a sprinkles going on, making you kind of get the idea that maybe they would face each other. I would be okay with a John Cena LA Knight match 1-on-1, and LA Knight taking an L to John Cena in a match at WrestleMania. I don't think really hurts LA Knight in any way. Though granted, I think LA Knight would benefit just as much as getting a W over John Cena at the WrestleMania pay-per-view, but we kind of need John Cena to get a W so that in a one-on-one match, so he has a reason to be able to challenge for a world title in the future. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. But there's also Goldberg being mentioned against Gunther for the world championship. I don't even know about that one, but whatever. Bailey and Nia Jax face Tiffany. Bailey and Nia Jax. I think they mean Bailey and Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae. Bailey and Naomi end up winning this match. Io Sky's music hits, and out she comes to the ring. She hits Tiffany and Candice with right hands, but Nia hits her with a right hand and throws her onto the ring apron. Io with a kick onto Nia, and she lands a springboard drop kick into Nia. In comes Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. Raquel with a big boot onto Io, and Rhea Ripley music hits, and out she comes wearing a face mask and a kendo stick. She runs to the ring, and Nia, Tiffany, and LeRae leave the ring, and Ripley hits Raquel with the kendo stick, and Liv leaves the ring. Ripley helps Io and Bailey to their feet, and that's pretty much how that segment ends. We then get Montez Ford versus Tommaso Ciampa. Montez Ford actually gets the W here. Ciampa goes ape stick with a right hand from behind onto Ford. Angelo Dawkins runs down to the ring, and he hits Ciampa with right hands. Gargano runs down, but Dawkins grabs him, and Ciampa hits Dawkins from behind with the right hands, and Gargano breaks it up. Gargano and Ciampa argue in the ring, and Ciampa pushes Gargano down, and out comes the Motor City Machine Guns, and Ciampa leaves the ring. Then we have the original Bloodline and the new Bloodline going face to face. As I already mentioned, Paul Heyman is brought into the picture, and we get the introduction of CM Punk and end the show with those two spearing and doing a GTS at the same time in the middle of the ring, with them having a stare down and Paul Heyman kind of hanging on the apron in between them in the background. And that's how the show goes off the air, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So at this time, guys, I thought this was the wrestling didn't really intrigue me all that much, guys, but the stories that were developed were fairly decent and doable. And I think that this was an okay show, but wrestling wise, it just kind of wasn't hitting it for me in any way, shape, or form. But anyway, guys, at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching, and have a great night, guys. Bye.